Is the Trump honeymoon over as stocks are starting to retreat among fears that much of the president's policy pursuits may not get implemented as promised? I know the stock market couldn't go up forever. You know, we were on such a long stretch there where it was going up every day, record. And it's starting to retreat a little bit, but I think people are starting to get a little fearful that maybe the ship isn't really being directed the way it should be.
Well, as we're talking here, this happened today when the Dow Jones went down 235 points. And the reason given was, in fact, exactly as you stated, that they're afraid that the Obamacare thing will not be a clean cutoff. It's going to bog down. And if that happens, then all the good things behind it, like a new tax structure, infrastructure development, the idea of tariffs for incoming goods, and all these other things.
Everything else.
They're not going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to get stuck on the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, or as we call it, the Obamacare Act. And I think it was a mistake to put that up front, but that's just my opinion.
So is the honeymoon over with the Trump?
No. You can just tell when he makes a speech to 10, 20, 30,000 people, they love this guy.
So going back to a position we were talking about in the last segment, Smoot-Hawley, and the protectionism. When we get into a situation where we're starting to have those kind of trade wars with people, and that was a big thing that Trump ran on, was the imbalance that we have with China, with Mexico, with Vietnam. That's going to bog down and weigh down some of his ability to do foreign policy as well.
Well, it depends on how clever and how well he does it. There's no question we have denuded this country of manufacturing, and I cite a very important statistic. At the turn of this millennium or this century, we had 22 million people in the manufacturing business, employees. Now we have less than 10 million. So we're becoming more of a importer and user society, and countries that are typically dependent on other people for their benefits.
But at the same time, technology is going forward with automation, robotics. You're starting to get to the point where you're going to have robots flipping burgers because they know the exact time
I think
and temperature to do it.
The best example right now is Amazon and shopping centers. You can say, well, people still like to go to shopping centers and to check around, touch the goods and so on. But you know darn well, 5 years from now, there aren't going to be as many shopping centers around as there are today. In fact, there may be many fewer ones.
Let me ask you about Trump's his budget. Looking at a 1.15 trillion, no budgets ever get passed the way that they're implemented by the president. It always has to go through Congress first.
Well, not only that, they don't mean anything. Sure, I mean, the president can't demand that we have a certain amount, but the point is those are just gauges anyway. They're measuring sticks. It depends on what we're going to do with our tax structure. You can't cut taxes across the board and then cut production. You just can't do that.
Now, does a tax proposal have to be done all in once, or can you do corporate tax first?
No.
And then deal with individual tax?
No, I go to the last one. To me, I always cite the 8 years of Reagan as a bright sunshine in otherwise cloudy group of presidential eras. And what he did is his basic strength was he had a Democrat Senate and House to contend with, but the powerhouse in those days was Tip O'Neill, the representative from Massachusetts, but he was also actually the Speaker of the House, but he had huge power, and nobody dared to come out against him. So Reagan and O'Neill worked together, and they got together the last good tax structure we've seen since that time. In 1987, we haven't had a new tax structure since that time. And it was a complete tax. You cannot do it in segments. You have to do it in all cases.
Now, back to the manufacturing for a quick second. I know there's a company from China that's a shoe factory that is looking for a place in America. Are they just trying to get on board behind this administration, or do you think it makes good sense in this climate to actually come back here?
That's a good question. And an easy answer is China is expanding like never before. You can call them communists, you can call them anything you want to, but that country has got their act together better than anything I thought I would see in my lifetime. They're producing more steel in China than the rest of the world put together. They're tops in raw materials, beneath rare minerals, for instance. 90% of the world minerals come from China.
You just can't breathe.
But China, remember, it has almost close to 1.5 million people. And they're moving, they have empty cities waiting for people to move off the farm into these cities. China is just in a basic expansion of export activity. Most of the exports actually from China up to a few years ago were American countries or European countries who put their facilities there to have cheaper goods coming back. You know, that's a big point of contention that Trump is playing on, and that is, the conglomerates love it because they only have to report every quarter what their profits are, and if they can sell their goods cheaper, they make more profits, and their stock goes up.